Well, been a long time, so welcome back to Project SR76. Still running, still doing fine, and I'm talking about me. Car's doing well too. Um, I was on the internet the other day, and I've never been happy with the ride height in the rear of the Corvette. There's lots of things you could look at when it comes to that, but one of the things I wanted to do uh, was determine whether if you tighten the bolt that's on the leaf spring. Now, if you remember, the leaf spring in the Corvettes go this way. They don't go from front of the wheel to back wheel. They go across the rear of the car. So the controversy was, hey, I want to lower or raise my ride height on my back of my Corvette. And back and forth, oh, you can't do that, you can't do this, you need to, if you tighten it, it'll raise it, if you loosen it, it'll raise it. A lot of back and forth. I think the consensus was that if you tighten it, you'll raise the body. And some people said, no, you can't do that at all. There's no change at all when you do that. So I want to do that. I'm about to do an oil change on the Corvette. But I want to go ahead and just take some time to figure out if they're right or they're wrong. And I'll put it on video. A lot of this stuff is, figure it out yourself. So we're going to figure it out ourselves. But let me get some measurements that you can see, and then we'll see that if I tighten it, which according to the majority of the people on the discussion, if you tighten it, it raises it. So we'll look at that, and I'll show you the bolt I'm going to tighten. But right now I just want to get the measurements. So I'm going to put you up here, and hopefully you can see. I just don't like that clearance there. I think it needs to be more. You can see the tires here and the clearance is there. I want it up a little bit higher. The front is a little bit higher. So that's what we're going to work on. So let me get a tape measure and we'll see the ride height. All right, so I'm going to measure from the ground to the top, to the opening on the front door. And you won't be able to see it that good, but you'll have to trust me. It's at roughly 27 and just shy of a half. So 25, we'll call it 27 and 4/8, 5/8. No, because that would put it, so it'd be like 3/8, something like that. Make sure I got it straight low. Yeah, so we'll just call it 70. We'll call it 27 and a half. That's how close it is. So now the goal would be when I get done and I'm going to tighten it, is there should be more clearance between that. Now if I take you up to the front, which I can do, because I have technology, and we look at this. Sorry, I'll edit that out. That's at 29. So I want the back up as high as that. Oh, I'm allergic to my Corvette. All right, so 29. That's a 29 even. So I'd like to get the rear up that high. And that's what we're going to work on today. So when we come back, I'll show you some measurements and we'll see how we did. All right, so I jacked up the Corvette doing the oil change, and I jack up both sides. I jack up the front and the rear. You can see here that the ride height currently is at 28. Remember, it was just almost 27 and a half. It's now at 28. You probably can't see it, but you might. It's now at 28. So here's what happens. If you notice, and I've talked about this before, the wheel tips out. So once you raise the car, the suspension hangs straight down, gravity thing, and then when you put the car back down, the wheel stays, 100% in line. There's no camfer or whatever for tipping out and lower the front end. So the idea here is, and now you can see it. So once I roll it around and I drive it for a little bit, it's going to go right back down to the 17. Or back to the 27. So what I want to do is I want to make the adjustments now. it's just going to look weird, and it's going to always do that. So what I've got to do now is, now that I'm at 28, I've got to make the adjustments now, and then know when I hang it, when I put it back down, it's going to be even higher. So it's going to be higher than 28 when I actually do that. Hopefully that makes sense. And so we're going to do that now. I'm going to jack it up now. I may have to pull the wheels off. And the idea is, if you tighten it and raise the spring closer to the body, it's going to raise the body up. That's what the goal is. So then once I get there, we'll take a quick look at the length of my bolts underneath, and we'll see if I can do any adjustments there. That'll be the next thing we'll show here in a little bit. All right, I don't know about you, but if I leave the Corvette sitting still for 2 days or more, cobwebs are everywhere. I think local spiders have a very good taste in car selection, but it sure is a mess. If I look at this, you can see the leaf spring running here, and here's where the leaf spring connects. Those are really long bolts right there. And the idea is, if I can screw this up more, which I don't know that I can, because people want to still use the castle nut, and I get that. So that's why spacers are necessary, and that I'll have to take a look at. But I'll see how many more threads there. I don't think there are any more threads to go on there. So a spacer would go here. So that would not, and then it would force it all the way up. But now the length of spacer, I don't know. One guy's using washers. I saw a picture of the washers he was using, and I guess that could be, I should have washers in here. But the idea is to get this up closer, and there, hopefully, supposedly, it'll get my ride height a little bit better. So that's what we're going to work on here in a little bit. I'll bring you back after I clean up all the dead cobwebs. All right, so if you look at that, I've got it jacked up here, jacking up the control arm. Right around here, so you can see that. You can see now it's now a lot straighter. I still don't think I have any more threads on here. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that nut off and just see if it'll tighten any more. I'll count the number of turns. I'm not sure that's even necessary, but I'm gonna do it anyway. Just to see if it'll take it up a little bit. So the cotter pin has to come out. I've got replacements, and then we'll go from there. All right, so it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to make any adjustments with what's here. It's going to require another set of bolts. My hesitancy with this is I still have contradicting information, that if you tighten the bolt, it raises the car. If you loosen the bolt, it lowers the car. There's still conflicting things, even out on, now that we're not going to Facebook, we just went out to a couple of websites, and it's kind of confusing, so I'm going to have to do a little more research. The way I have it jacked up now isn't going to work anyway. You need to have this needs to go up higher, and so you can put the jack under here. I saw one guy who has a foreign piece of steel that he puts on here and jacks that up as well. But I really don't think I'm going to raise that with the setup I have here. I'll do a little more research and we'll get back to it. But today I accomplished oil change on SR76, and then I'm now going to go in and tackle plug wires and plugs. That should be fun because one of those plugs seems to be in a place that's really hard to get to. But we'll look at that in a little bit. But for now, I'm going to let it exist as it does, the rear end, and I'll get a little more. I love talking to the guys on the internet. A lot of them guys have a lot of experiences, but I always
want to go back to the geometry for this. The reality is, how I showed you how to measure it only shows you that it's off. The real place to measure is down here on the rocker panels, and I need to actually go get. I've got my assembly book, and somewhere it has the specs on what the ride height should be based on a certain point. You have to do the geometry, the trig on it to get it right. So we'll tackle this later on, but I'll post this video up just so you guys can see. Hey, my setup as it is now isn't going to work. I need longer bolts, more threads. Either way I go. And then the other problem with that is you're going to have to drill holes for the cotter pin. It's not recommended to not put a cotter pin in there. Well, if you get the right locking nuts on there, you can do it. But most people go, nah, I'm not really comfortable with that. But also, you know, I want to replace the rubber in here. That's kind of crushed. You can see that's kind of crushed as well. So I think I'll just order a whole new set here for this, and we'll see what we can do with that. It looks pretty straightforward. The bolt comes out of the top up here. You can see the hole. I think that's all. But I'll have to weigh in on drilling the hole for a cotter pin. But most of the guys I talked to said they prefer to have the hole drilled, and that I think that for me that would involve putting it on there, checking the ride height, and then marking it on where the hole is going to be for the castle nut and for the a cotter pin to go through. So it's rather be safe than sorry. So we're going to put that little project on hold, and when I get back to it, I'll do a new version. There you go. Thanks for watching.